I'm going to be taking you through a Mat Pilates exercise and teaching it to you just how we would deliver this exercise on the course. The exercise we're going to be taking you through is called one leg stretch. This exercise comes from Joseph Pilates' original classical exercises, and I'm going to be showing you how Joseph Pilates did it and then how we've adapted this exercise with APPI to be a little bit more accessible for modern day bodies, and showing you a few of the levels that we can do this exercise. So it doesn't have to be just that advanced Joseph Pilates exercise. We've got all these levels that will build up the strength to get to that final exercise. So Joseph Pilates exercise for one leg stretch. We lie down on the back. Joseph Pilates generally started most of his lying down exercises with the legs on the floor, pretty much just how you would lie in bed, but really elongated. He was always bigger and bolder with all of his moves than we generally do now. From here, you lift up one knee towards your head, one leg straight out, and we'll swap, 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 swap. So this is our one leg stretch from Joseph Pilates. Quite strong, quite fast, and really pushing range, knee towards the forehead. And that is Joseph Pilates' version. Now, as I promised, we've got a few levels here for this exercise. I'm going to be showing you our 5th and most advanced level in APPI repertoire of the one leg stretch. So you'll see the similarities, but you'll see how we've just toned it back a little bit. So we always find a neutral spine position, even here on the ground to start, with the legs in tabletop. From here, we lift up into an abdominal curl, not rounding too high because we want to still feel that the tailbone is heavy. Opposite hand to the opposite knee, other arm in front, and the other leg is straight. And from here, we swap and swap and swap and swap. So you can see that it's quite similar to Joseph Pilates' version, with those legs doing that bicycle that you might know it as, but I'm not pushing my knee all the way in. I'm using my hand to stop that leg, and in turn, I'm working my abdominals almost a little harder to maintain that control. And release. So that is your APPI level 5. Now, of course, in our course, we would teach you level 1 first, but for the purpose of today, I'm going to be teaching you level 2. Level 2 one leg stretch, I find, is a really, really great basis to be teaching beginner, intermediate and advanced clients. Everyone will feel their abdominals working. And on the note of that, with this exercise, that is the focus. We're working on abdominal core strength, and it's those transverse abdominal muscles. So the transverse abdominis is that deeper layer of core, not your six-pack muscles. We're also going to be finding that the pelvic floor will get some natural strengthening. We don't need to focus on it, but that will strengthen here. And we will work the hip flexors a little too. Lastly, we work the multifidus, which is your lower back stabilizing. So all of those muscles around that lower core area. One leg stretch level 2 starts with the legs in a Pilates rest position, the feet on the ground, a little bit in front of the knees, so not too close to the bottom, a little step forwards, and the arms resting down by the side. Head heavy, shoulders can roll back a little bit here, and we want to find that the ribs aren't flaring, so we push those down. Your move from here, maintaining pelvic stability and stability through that waist area, we lift one leg to tabletop slowly. From that tabletop, it stretches out on that diagonal, returns back to tabletop, lower to the floor with a lot of control, and then we swap sides. So you can start to see where, knowing what the advanced move is, how we've maybe broken down this exercise to be at this more accessible level. Now I'm really getting my pelvis, my lower abdominals to work to stabilize me, and I'm not overstraining too much. And that is your one leg stretch level 2. I'm going to be teaching lovely Sarah now and showing you how we would teach this to clients. So I have the lovely Sarah lying down now here, acting as my client, and you can see she's come into her Pilates rest position straight away. Here, once we're in our position, we want to look at our client's posture before getting them moving straight away. And you'll learn that we always look at the posture pretty much in every exercise before we get going. That posture centralizes around our neutral spine. So we're looking at the points head, shoulders, through the ribs and the core and the tail. Having a quick look at Sarah, we can see that her shoulders and her ribs just look a little bit not quite level. The shoulders are lifted and the ribs are lifted a little too. This is a very common posture that we see in desk workers. Have you been doing a lot of that lately, Sarah?
Yeah.
Yes. So a little cheat we can do to make our client feel more comfortable and to get their posture working a little better is to give a head support or head cushion. So Sarah, just lift your head up for me and you can place your head back down there. Does that feel comfier?
Yes.
Great. So comfortable for the client, excellent. And then also, although it's subtle, I can now see that her shoulders and her ribs just have flattened out a little bit, allowing her spine to fall into a bit more of a neutral posture. We're not putting as much pressure on the back of the neck. So from here, we want to find the shoulders rolling back a little bit, but at the same time, the ribs pressing down. Those 2 points like to counteract each other, so we want to find the equal position. Good. Then our tail, rather than clenching and tucking our tail here, we want to push that tail down and forwards into the ground just slightly to feel the tiniest little space underneath the lower back. From there, we've got a really good chance of activating the transverse abdominal area, and that's that deep core. So from this position, we're good to go, and then we can get the fun starting. Ready with the legs. Sarah, can you lift slowly, one leg up to tabletop position? And I'm here to help her find that tabletop by pulling her knee towards my hand above the hip. From this position, straighten your leg out about 45-degree angle. Gorgeous. Return back to my hand, back to that tabletop position above the hip, and then lower this whole shape down to the ground. Lovely. We can repeat on the other leg to give that bicycle effect. So we lift one leg to tabletop, straighten it out, return it to table, and then lower back to the ground. Good. We're going to keep going with that one at your own time, and I'll talk you through a few more things. So just moving through slow and steady. Sarah's got a lovely natural breath going. I definitely won't bombard her with the breath straight away, but generally we're wanting to breathe out on the hard parts, breathing out on the effort here. I would encourage breathing out on the extension of that leg. What I'm also watching for, we'll talk a lot about our watch points in our class. I'm looking at Sarah's ribs because we know that they want to flare up. So I'm watching this area and maybe a tactile touch just to help push that area down. I'm also watching that hip stability, that pelvic stability I spoke about before. So I want to see that Sarah's hips not only aren't rocking backwards and forwards, but we're not rocking side to side either. And that's looking really stable. But we can always encourage more stability from our clients, and we can use some imagery as well here. That imagery that we've got a small space or like a little P underneath the lower back we don't want to squish. Or maybe that we've got a beam across our tummy and we don't want it to wobble side to side. Gorgeous, Sarah. You've got one more of those and you can release all the way from there. How did that feel?
It was hard. It's really hard to do it properly.
That's what I love about these exercises.
It's really tough.
Sarah's definitely an intermediate advanced Pilates client and she can get such good work from level 2. So I think it's a good reminder for all of us to go back to basics.
And lots of concentration. You amaze yourself. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much.